Hi everyone, I'm Walnut and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be trying to climb as high as we can on the Scarlet and Violet VGC ladder. I'm going to still be using this team that I made that I'm really proud of, and I'm going to see how far I can get. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Our first battle is going to be against this team using Tyranitar, Mousehold, Torkoal, Sylveon, Indeedee Female, and Armarouge. Right off the bat, it's definitely looking like a Trick Room team to me. The mons here are looking pretty slow for the most part, except for maybe Mousehold. Mousehold can just provide useful support in moves like Follow Me, and it also gets Encore, it gets Friend Guard. All around pretty cool mon. I really like Mousehold. I'm going to be bringing Dragonite and Meowscarada in the lead here, just in case they go Indeedee Armarouge, just because I do like that Ice Spinner and knockoff combo. And in the back, I'm going to bring Dondozo and Tatsugiri. I know they have a Torkoal and Armarouge on their team, and they can both clear smog away my boosts. But I think that the Dondozo Tatsugiri will help me stall out Trick Room if it does happen to go up. So their lead is actually going to be the Tyranitar and the Indeedee. I did really like the Dragonite and Meowscarada lead into the Tyranitar as well, just because I can threaten with Fighting move or Grass move. And their mons are also just really outsped by Meowscarada, so I feel like it's pretty threatening to just have it in the lead here. Even though I could just double into the Indeedee, get rid of Psychic Terrain for good, and knock it out, I end up going for an Ice Spinner into the Tyranitar. I just think that it might go for a Defensive Terra, or they might go for a switch here, and if they decide to switch, it might be nice to get some chip into it. The mons in the back aren't particularly weak to Ice Spinner, but I just went for it in case they went for a Flying Terra Blast into Meowscarada, because even though it would just bring me down to Sash, the Sand Chip would knock me out afterwards. They actually decided to go straight to Torkoal here, set up Sun for us, so I actually won't be losing my Focus Sash to the Sandstorm. Knockout removes the Mirror Herb from Indeedee, which is a really weird item for Indeedee to have, just because I feel like it normally would carry maybe like a Psychic Seed or some sort of berry. But yeah, this one's holding a Mirror, so just keep that in mind. They do get the Trick Room up, however, because I don't knock it out, but I'm not too threatened here because I do have the Multiscale preserved on Dragonite, I have the Focus Sash on Meowscarada, I can also protect, and I do have that Dondozo Tatsugiri in the back if I want to have them eat some hits. So with Meowscarada, now that the Psychic Terrain is gone, I was considering going for a Sucker Punch just to weaken the Torkoal, but I thought it wasn't really worth it. Instead, I'm just going to be protecting on the Meowscarada this turn, making sure I don't take any damage. Dragonite is not going to be taking too much from the Torkoal here, even though it's in Sun. I'm resisting the hit, and the damage should be cut in half because of the multi-scale. So yeah, Eruption comes out and does almost nothing. And I'm locked into Ice Spinner, so I just decide to throw that into Torkoal, get a little bit of chip. And at this point, the Armarouge is a little bit scary. They could switch Indeedee in and set Psychic Terrain back up. I am kind of just expecting fire moves from them here. Probably not Expanding Force because there is no Psychic Terrain. They'd have to switch in Indeedee onto the Torkoal slot if they wanted to do that, but then if you're switching Torkoal out, you're kind of wasting the Trick Room. So I'm kind of just expecting double fires from their team here. So I think I'm going to be switching into Dondozo and Tatsugiri. I'm going to set up Dondozo on the left slot just because if they did attack with both mons and went for like an armor cannon or something, I would expect it to go into the Meowscarada just because it does have that Focus Sash. But I do like Dondozo here just because it will set up the stat boosts and it will resist the fire moves that could potentially be coming out here. And I'll eat those really well. Even though the special defense not that great, I do have a tiny, I don't remember how much, it might be like 2 points. But you know, 2 points times 2, that's 4. Quick maths. Yeah, we set up the speed boost as well, which means we are actually going to be slower than them in the Trick Room, but that's okay. We're just here to eat some hits, stall some Trick Room turns, stall the Sun. I'm not too worried about what they're going to be doing here. A burn would have been pretty bad, but not the end of the world. I don't think I really needed Dondozo to threaten too much damage here. It's mostly just to eat hits, threaten a little bit, and stall Trick. So here I can go for a Protect and just stall out another turn. I believe there's 2 turns left of Trick Room and Sun, depending on if it's Heat Rock or not, but it's most likely not. So yeah, I just go for the Trick Room here. They actually switch out into the Ndidi, so our opponent kind of, I guess, reads the Trick Room, or not the Trick Room, the Protect here, and is able to swap in their Ndidi. Luckily, it didn't have the Mirror Herb, so I didn't have to worry about Ndidi getting all the copied boosts. And Protect actually fails, just because we end up going last in this turn. No one else really attacked us anyways, so we're okay with that. They do get the Ndidi switch in for free though. And here, I'm kind of expecting a Clear Smog from the Torkoal. I'm okay with the Clear Smog at this point, but I'm gonna attack into the Torkoal here. I think I could have just ordered up into the Ndidi. I wanted to have a speed boost for the next turn, but they actually just go for the Earth Power, not the Clear Smog. But they go for the Scale Swap on Ndidi, which I guess that means Ndidi was their Dondozo answer, because they also had that Mirror Herb, so it's making a little bit more sense now. But we're just going to go for the order up into the Torkoal. They don't have Psychic Surge anymore, and Psychic Surge is going to be gone for the rest of the game basically, because I can't switch out with Dondozo, and yeah, Ndidi doesn't have it anymore. It's unaware, but it doesn't have any stat boosts, so I'm not too worried about it. It's ignoring mine, but it won't be ignoring my speed boost. I still have everything since they didn't Clear Smog me. So I'm just going to be going for an order up into the Ndidi, I believe. And Torkoal is not going to be doing too much damage at this point. It's so low. Eruption does almost nothing to me. And it doesn't have Clear Smog, so I'm not too worried about it. I could have just wave crashed the previous turns, I believe. I probably would have just knocked them out. Knocked out the Torkoal, I mean, but I was scared of the Clear Smog and I wanted a speed boost just in case I needed to outspeed Ndidi or Armor Rouge outside of Trick Room, because this Dondozo is not especially fast. And their team could have speed even though it is decently hard Trick Room. Or pretty hard Trick Room, let's be honest. So at this point, they do have both Fire Mons back in. I want to get a KO here because I don't want them to really set up Weather again. I think they could be switching out Torkoal here into Tyranitar, but I'm a little bit more scared of Armor Rouge in this situation. It does have the Psychic Terrain available for it again, and an Expanding Force would be doing a lot of damage. So I'm just going to be wave crashing into Armor Rouge. The sun's gone now, so it's going to be doing the full power. They go for a Terra Dark, but it's not Terra Grass, so that's not going to help them. And Wave Crash picks up the one-hit KO onto the Armor Rouge. So, we're just left versus this Torkoal. We do take a lot of recoil, and we are going to feint to this Earth Power now, but we're in a really solid position here. We have Tatsugiri out on the field now. We know their last one is Tyranitar, so I'm just going to send in Dragonite here. They used their Terra already, so I'm free to Brick Break into the Tyranitar, and Torkoal should be going down to a Muddy Water. I do also go for the Terra Water on the Tatsugiri. I really don't think it was necessary. I'm pretty sure I would have just knocked out either way, but I've never really Terra Tatsugiri before. In fact, I never really thought about the Tatsugiri Terra or even changed it. I'm not exactly sure what I would run on Tatsugiri just because I feel like the Terra on it just feels so niche. I think it just could be better used on a lot of other mods. But maybe Terra Ghost Tatsugiri I could see being useful. You could maybe lead it against Dragonite, and if you're scared of a Choice Band, like Terra Normal E-Speed into Tatsugiri, or maybe like combined with some other priority move to just knock it out really fast. you could just Terra Ghost and ignore the normal type or fighting type moves that are going into you. Yeah, we do pick up that win there. I think if I had to change anything, I probably would have just doubled into the Indeedee in the lead. I feel like they don't run Protect too often just because they need to run so many other moves like Follow Me, Trick Room, stuff like that. So yeah, I would have just went into the Indeedee straight away to prevent Psychic Terrain from being up later in the game. So this next battle is going to be against a higher ranked opponent. They have 3 dragons on their team. Garchomp, Hydreigon, and Dragonite. They also have Talonflame, Meowscarada, and Amoonguss. So versus this team, I do like Dragonite in the lead just because I have an okay matchup into the other dragons. They can't really one-hit KO me because I have multi-scale, and if they are really threatening to me, I could always just go for a normal Terra. However, I am looking to potentially bring Dondozo in this situation just because they do have Meowscarada and Amoonguss, and I feel like my Dondozo does pretty well into those. I do need to be worried about the Talonflame, however, because it could Will-O-Wisp and taunt me, and that's just going to be a whole pain in the butt. But I do like Dondozo here. I have that Dragon move too, Order Up, that I could use into their Dragon types. Just get some stacks, and they probably won't be able to deal too much to me. Of course, Hydreigon is a little bit scary. It does get some pretty strong special moves, and my special defense is a little bit on the lower side compared to my defense. It could also just spam Draco Meteors and I would ignore the stat drops, so that'd be doing a lot of damage into me. But I do feel pretty confident with the Dondozo here, especially since my Dondozo would outspeed Hydreigon after my boosts. Not under Tailwind though. But my other lead is going to be Talonflame here for speed. Early on, even though my Dragonite's a little bit slow, I thought it'd be nice to bring Talonflame anyways. I didn't really want to bring Tatsugiri in the lead, which would probably be a little more offensive, just because Tatsugiri kind of has a chance that it could just faint first turn, and then I wouldn't be able to use the Dondozo at all, which I thought was a little bit too much. So on this first turn, I was kind of expecting a Will-O-Wisp from the Talonflame. I feel like that's just generally something that they carry all the time. So I will protect on Dondozo expecting the Will-O-Wisp, and then I'll probably just go for 2 extreme speeds since I do want to keep the Terra on Dondozo. Turn 1, they don't have any Quick Guard or Protect or anything like that, or any Terra Ghost. They go for the Will-O-Wisp into the Dondozo like I expected, and then from the Garchomp, I was thinking a Rock Slide or a Dragon Claw would probably come out. But yeah, the Rock Slide does go into my Dragonite here, breaks the multi-scale, so we will be most likely fainting to the next attack unless it's not Dragon Claw. Rock Slide, we'll probably find a Rock Slide. But yeah, we're just going to be E-speeding the Talonflame here. That way we can take it out, make sure we don't get burned on our Dondozo. Unless it is actually Terra Ghost, which would be a little bit unfortunate. But on our Dondozo, we can just go for an Order Up into the Garchomp. Let's see, I think it does a little bit less than Wave Crash, but I didn't really want to deal with the recoil. So yeah, I'm just going for Order Up here. I also wanted to Terra now, even though they could go for another Rock Slide, just because I wanted to be able to potentially switch out Dondozo since I'm not in the Commander mode yet. And having the Flying type would allow me to switch back in onto like Meowscarada a little bit safer, since I wouldn't be OHKO'd by a Flower Trick. So I do go for that Flying Terra here. Luckily Extreme Speed does pick up the Talonflame, so no burns, no taunts against our Dondozo. There, Garchomp does get the Dragon Claw into our Dragonite, so a rip Dragonite. We're gonna be fainting there, but Dondozo does get a nice Order Up into the Garchomp. They are Life Orb too. I wonder... the Wave Crash would have been a better range, or at least brought it down to a lower HP point where Life Orb might be taking it out, and that way I would maybe be a little more safe to ignore the Garchomp since it would be knocking itself out pretty quickly. And since it can't do too much damage to me, and I do outspeed it so I don't have to worry about flinches. I do send in Scarlet here, but since Talonflame is gone, I'm pretty okay with sending in Tatsugiri to hopefully try to clean up this battle a little bit. Meowscaradas do often run Protect, so I was kind of expecting a Protect from the Meowscarada this turn, so I'm going to be going for a Order Up into the Garchomp. That way I also get my speed boost, and the speed boost will let me outspeed Meowscarada, especially since their team doesn't have Tailwind. Yeah, and now that we're Terra Flying, Flower Trick is resisted by Dondozo, so we don't really have to worry about that one hit KOing us. But unfortunately they Protect on their Garchomp, so we're not going to be doing any damage this turn, and they do get a knockoff on our leftovers. We go for the Order Up, but it is protected, but we do get the speed boost still. A very unique interaction. Yeah, since they protected last turn, I was pretty confident just attacking into it this turn. I wasn't sure who they could have in the back. I was a little bit afraid of Amoonguss, that's why I did do the Terra Flying. But they're actually going to let us have the Garchomp here. I didn't go for another Order Up just because I am pretty fast at this point. I should be outspeeding all these guys at +3, and I didn't want to take any rough skin damage. And since I don't have leftovers anymore, I don't really see too much of a point in protecting here. So we're just going to be throwing out attacks until Dondozo goes down. They send out Hydreigon here, and Hydreigon is probably one of the scarier ones for me to face. I do only have Talonflame in the back, and Talonflame's damage output isn't the best, but I do potentially have Tatsugiri popping out. But I do need to be a little bit careful about when I faint. So they actually go for the Terra here when I'm Order Upping into the Hydreigon. I kind of wanted the Hydreigon a little bit lower here just because I do have that Talonflame versus Meowscarada in the endgame, which I think I should do okay against, especially with the Tatsugiri potentially. We go for the Order Up. It does nice damage into Hydreigon. Of course, both these mons could carry Protect, which is very annoying for me. But they're just going to be attacking here. They go for the Flower Trick, and they go for a Dark Pulse. I'm not sure what item the Hydreigon is. I'm guessing it's Specs actually, because it went for the Dark Pulse and it did a ton of damage. And at this point, my game actually like freezes for a while. I'm not sure what happens, but I'm just gonna skip ahead. Alright, it actually was like nearly a full minute that I was just stuck, unable to do anything. But we're actually gonna go for a Protect here, even though I'm not getting any leftovers healing. I kind of want to see what they're going to be going for. Let's see if they have the Sucker Punch. And I'm actually trying to get them to KO me with my Protect failing. Because if they go for a Sucker Punch and a Dark Pulse and my Protect fails, that means they will knock out Dondozo but not get a second hit into the Tatsugiri, which would be really good for me. That way I'll have a full health Tatsugiri in the late game with the Choice Scarf versus these two mons, and it'll just give me a much better matchup. We're going to go for the Protect here. They go for the Sucker Punch, and that fails, and then they go for the Dark Pulse. So this turn, I'm actually hoping for my double Protect to fail. Pretty good odds for it. But of course, I believe it is a 33% chance, or maybe 25, I'm not sure, to have it go through, which would be bad. It would give them a chance to potentially catch on to what we are trying to do here. So yeah, I'm thinking about it, like, will they figure it out? But I don't think they'll figure it out just yet. So I'm willing to go for the double Protect now. But we get it. This next turn is a big 50-50. It basically is, do I attack or will they use Sucker Punch? Because if I Protect and they use Sucker Punch, I'm in a really good position, and if I attack and they use Sucker Punch, it's a pretty bad position for me. But yeah, they actually call the triple protect and go for the flower trick instead of the sucker punch. Our opponent gets a really good read versus us there. Unfortunate, I think had we not had the double protect, it would have been a much better position. They wouldn't have had an extra turn to catch on, but I also could have just played around that prediction as well. They go for the Dark Pulse, but it doesn't actually knock out Tatsugiri. We survive on 2 HP, and this game is not over yet. I send in my Talonflame here. It is looking very difficult from this position. Unfortunately, I can't one-hit KO Hydreigon with the, what's it called? The Icy Wind, so I will have to Brave Bird into it. But hopefully Icy Wind will just get some damage onto Meowscarada, break its sash. Let's see. So yeah, we go for the Brave Bird. This is going to be picking up the Hydreigon here, leaving Meowscarada in a 1v2. It is versus 2 1 HP Mons, so it could be going for a lot of things here. I'm going for the Icy Wind, but I actually miss, so unfortunately I don't get to break their sash, but I do get to live the knock off. And at this point, I'm expecting a Sucker Punch into either slot, so I'm trying to play to my outs and go for a Will-O-Wisp so the Sucker Punch can fail. The Icy Wind missing was really bad for me in that position, because now we do have to kind of play this guessing game, and I do just have to hope that they Sucker Punch the Talonflame. And they do. They Sucker Punch the Talonflame. We're going to be able to get an Icy Wind. It finally connects. Does good damage to the Meowscarada. Drops its speed. And we're going to get a Will-O-Wisp into the Meowscarada as well. This Meowscarada is going to be struggling a little bit. Unfortunately, this game is still not over, because they do have that Sucker Punch. I don't have Gale Wings anymore, so this Brave Bird, if they go for the Sucker Punch into me, is the right play, since I can miss on the Tatsugiri Icy Wind, which I am locked into, but it is only a 5% chance. So it's really low odds that I will lose this game here. But if I do miss this Icy Wind, they can just always Sucker Punch the next turn and KO me. Yeah, but we missed that Icy Wind. We missed those. So unfortunately, this hard-fought game, we will be losing. Even though we got that Will-O-Wisp play right at the end. We get 2 Icy Wind misses out of 3, which is really unlucky. I could have, let's see, played a little bit better around the protects and maybe just gone for the Meowscarada a little bit earlier and just hope that I could KO the Hydreigon with like a Draco Meteor or something like that, but I was a little bit scared of a potential like Steel Terra, which would make it a really difficult to deal with the Mons that I had left. So this next battle is against a pretty interesting team. They're going to be bringing Tropius here. So I've seen a couple videos with Tropius. I know that it likely has the Harvest ability, probably has a Citrus Berry on it, and could throw Leech Seeds, could throw Wide Guards, and I believe it also has Substitute, maybe Protect, Air Slash, something like that. But either way, very chunky, stally Pokemon. I'm looking to bring a Talonflame and Dragonite in the lead potentially. I'm not sure if the Glamora is going to be Choice Specs or Focus Sash. Focus Sash would be really annoying for me, since it would be able to live the Earthquake, but it's not the end of the world. Talonflame isn't super necessary here, even though it would be nice to potentially burn and taunt the Dondozo Tatsugiri. I could also taunt the Tropius, make sure it can't stall turns and get those recycled berries. I also want to bring Meowscarada here. Meowscarada does well into the fishes. I can knock off the Citrus Berry and then it won't be able to harvest it at all, which is a potential thing I could do there. Versus the Garchomp and the Glamora, I was a little bit worried that they would be able to flinch me if I didn't set up Tailwind, and I thought the flinch was going to be pretty bad if I had to deal with that. Like, a potential flinch could kind of snowball the game in the wrong direction. if I didn't get Tailwind up and went for like a Brave Bird Earthquake, because then they would just outspeed me and just do a lot of damage to my team. So I decided to just go for the Tailwind Earthquake here, even though this Glamora is probably just going to be Focus Sash and Power Gem my Talonflame. But they actually go for the Protect here, so it would have been fine if I just Brave Birded into that Glamora to break the Sash and then knock it out with an Earthquake. The Earthquake's going to bring it down to 1 HP, but it is going to set up the Toxic Debris, which I kind of forgot about. Like, yeah, that is Glamora's whole thing. Like, it has that special ability where when it gets hit, it drops Toxic Spikes. But yeah, I just forgot. So yeah, we go down here, and we also let them get up the spikes. But I don't think we're in the worst position yet. I didn't want to bring in Gholdengo next to my locked into Earthquake Dragonite, so I decided to send in Meowscarada, even though that means I'm going to be breaking my Sash here and getting poisoned. I was considering like maybe setting up a second layer before Meowscarada comes in, and then that way the first like couple turns of poison damage wouldn't be doing too much, even though it would be ramping up. But I thought it would be fine to just switch it in now. I don't particularly need that Focus Sash here, so I'm fine to just Protect and then Earthquake. This way I can still Earthquake for another turn. I do have that Tailwind up, so I'm going to be doing damage before they can. And we do still have that multi-scale as well, so Garchomp will not be knocking us out this turn, even though it definitely wants to. The Earthquake's gonna do almost half to the Garchomp. It's gonna set up the Toxic Spikes here, but my other Mon is Glamora, and I have this Dragonite out, and Dragonite's flying, so these two will not be affected by the spikes on the floor. I go for a Dragon Claw into my Dragonite here, not going for any Rock Slides or Earthquakes. I don't think they really felt like they needed to get damage into the Meow here, since Meowscarada's not especially bulky, and the Toxic Spikes would be dealing the damage to break my Sash here. Well, let's see who they send in next. So next to the Garchomp, they're going to put the Dondozo, and honestly, since they haven't Terra'd here, I was thinking of just knocking off first instead of going for a Flower Trick, even though Flower Trick would KO just a normal Water-type Dondozo. And then I was expecting another Dragon move into the Dragonite. Since I don't have the multi-scale anymore, and I don't really want to commit the Terra since I probably would just get knocked out anyways, I'm going to switch out Dragonite here into Gholdengo. I think it'd also be nice to have Gholdengo out versus the Dondozo if they decide to switch Tatsugiri in. Since the Earthquake locked Dragonite wouldn't be doing too much there, and I also would be attacking my own team. So I go for the knockoff, but it is protected, that's okay. And Garchomp's going to go for a Dragon Claw, but that's not going to be doing too much damage here. And we do still have that Tailwind up, thankfully, so we are going to be outspeeding the Garchomp with our Gholdengo, so we're not too worried in that position. They could always like protect on the Garchomp potentially, and that means, I believe, that would stall out the last turn of Tailwind, and they could potentially Earthquake me next turn, but it is in Flower Trick range, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just going to Terra Steel, make it rain here. I think even though it's resisted by the Dondozo, if it went for like some sort of Terra that wasn't water and didn't resist Steel, it'd be doing a lot of damage. Additionally, Dondozo's unaware will ignore the special attack drops, so I thought I'd still be doing decent damage even if it was resisted. So I do get that knockoff through. They didn't Terra at all, but we do get rid of the leftovers on Dondozo. And then Make It Rain comes out. This should be picking up the KO on Garchomp, and Dondozo takes a good chunk of damage. But they're going to be sending in their last Mon here. Both our Mons are going to be outspeeding this Dondozo. It goes for a Wave Crash into Gholdengo, but it doesn't do very much damage because it doesn't have any boosts. It takes a little bit of recoil, but nothing too significant. And we do take a little more damage from Poison. And our opponent sends out Tropius as their last mon. So as I said earlier, I did want to knock this off, make sure that this thing cannot harvest any berries at all. And considering the amount of damage I did last time with Goldango's Make It Rain, I thought I'd be in a pretty good spot to just use it again. If the Tropius used Wide Guard or anything to save Dondozo, I thought it'd be fine as well. Just because that means it wouldn't be protecting or subbing. And that just means the knockoff will definitely go through. In this position though, I think I'm pretty set. I do have the E-Speed option with Dragonite in the back. I could also Ice Spinner if this Tropius decides to stay Grass and Flying type. They are going to be using their Terra here, and it's on the Tropius, but it's just going to turn into a Water type, so I'm not too worried about it. It doesn't resist my Dragonite's E-Speed, so it's just going to be going down in a couple hits here. The knockoff is going to take away its berry, no stalling for you, and then we get off a big Make It Rain. So we're going to take out the Dondozo here. Now they don't have any unaware mons, so these special attack drops are just normal drops. I'm going to be doing less damage, but I can't do anything about that since my Meowscarada is going to be fainting here. And I will be sending in my last mon, which is just that Dragonite. But Dragonite and Goldango will be able to pick up this Tropius pretty easily. I'm just going to go for the extreme speeds and more Make It Rains. So unless Tropius has some sort of magic button that restores all its HP, this thing is definitely going down here as both my mons outspeed it. And that's going to be game. So GG's to our opponent. Very interesting Tropius team. I think we played that one generally pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that turn one, even though our Talonflame did faint. Rest in peace, Talonflame. You did a good job. You set up Tailwind for our team and it was very valuable. They're going to be using Dragapult, Goldango, Murkrow, Garchomp, Volcarona, and Garganacl. Or Garganackle or Garganachi or whatever you want to call it. So versus this team, I'm a little bit scared to see the Prankster Tailwind with the Dragapult just because a lot of my mons they will outspeed Dragapult when I have Tailwind, but not if they also have Tailwind. So I'm a little bit worried here. But I do like the Talonflame and Dragonite lead. I do pretty well into most of their mons. I can Earthquake a lot of things. I can Ice Spinner a lot of things as well. So Dragonite looks really good here. I also want to bring Meowscarada, just because Garganacl is pretty threatening, and I think Meowscarada would be pretty good into that. I don't really want to bring Dondozo or Tatsugiri because I won't be able to switch out, and if I'm stuck in there and I just have to eat a Salt Cure, it would be really annoying to just have to play against, especially since they can just like start spamming Protects after that or something like that. So I'm just going to be bringing the non-Dondozo Tatsugiri mons here versus our opponent. Do they have glasses on in their trainer card? I can't remember. Okay, but they lead the Goldango and Dragapult here, so I don't see a Murkrow, no Tailwind. I'm going to be outspeeding. So I'm looking to Earthquake here just because Choice Banded Earthquake I think does have a pretty good role to kill no bulk Goldangos, which are not too uncommon. So I'm definitely down to just Earthquake here. I was also considering the Terra just because it is a Dragon type in front of me and I don't really want to eat those Dragon Darts if it does go for them. So I will be Terraing here and just going for the Earthquake and the Tailwind on the Talonflame. Alright, they actually go for a switch on the Dragapult, which is okay by me. I was targeting the Goldango mostly anyways, but they do switch in the Murkrow, so I won't be able to hit that this turn. That's okay. We're gonna go for the Terra. since my Dragonite Terra went off first, it's most likely not a Terra from their side, especially since it's just a Gholdengo who probably is Terra Steel, unless it's one of the weirder Gholdengos with like maybe Terra Water or Terra Ghost. We do get that Tailwind off, and let's see if this Earthquake is going to kill Gholdengo. Nothing to Talonflame, nothing to Murkrow. Boom. Gholdengo goes down to the Earthquake, so very nice by Dragonite. MVP here. Who do they send back in? We know one of their mons is Dragapult, they have Murkrow, and who else could they be bringing? I'm a little bit scared of the Garganacl just because it is Garganacl. It's very hard to break, recovers super annoying, and so is Protect. And Sulk here just does damage forever. So in this position, let's see, I think, yeah, I'm going to be switching the Dragonite here just because I'm expecting a Dragon-type move coming from them. I can't attack the Murkrow anymore because I am locked into that Earthquake. And they're going to go for a Terra here. I am not expecting a Ghost move since I was a Terra normal Dragonite, so I thought the Gholdengo switch was really safe. I did not think of that when I first Terra'd my Dragonite normal though, but you know, very useful to have in this situation. They go for the Terra Dragon on their Dragapult, so I am just expecting a potential like Dragon Darts here, and that is what they go for. But that was like nothing to Gholdengo, so I was like, oh, maybe they aren't banded. And then it one-shot Talonflame, and I was like, oh, you know, whatever. And I do accidentally take a screenshot there. I was just so shocked to make sure it was real. Rip Talonflame. My bird died to one single Dreepy. One boosted Dreepy. But yeah, in this position, I'm looking to just Make It Rain here. Make It Rain should just take out both these mons, and there's basically nothing they could do that could knock out Gholdengo. I think they are banded just because they did knock out Talonflame pretty easily, but they could always just be something else, but I think it's pretty unlikely for them to bring something else here. Like, you're not gonna, it's not Life Orb, it's definitely not like Clear Amulet because you just run Clear Body or something like that. And I'm gonna just attack into the Murkrow here in case it is like really bulky or something like that. I went for a Brick Break, but I think I should have just went for Extreme Speed considering the last mon I had, I believe, was Meowscarada. And Meowscarada probably has the worst matchup against Volcarona, especially since they already used their Terra, so I don't have to worry about Poison-type Garganacl. So I think I should have just went for E-Speed here instead of the Brick Break. But I think I'm in a strong enough position that the Brick Break doesn't really matter. Do good damage into the Murkrow, finish both these guys off with a Make It Rain, and now it's just going to be one mon on their side left. Yeah, I was going for the Brick Break just in case it was a Garganacl, but I think I was fine to Garganacl either way, just because I do have this Gholdengo, I do have that Meowscarada. And the Extreme Speed here would have done some damage to Garchomp, just because Garchomp does outspeed me. Unless it is very, very slow. But yeah, they just go for the Earthquake here, get the double KO, but it's okay. I have Focus Sash Meowscarada in the back. Meowscarada's about to put in some work. I do have to be a little bit careful here because they did offset their Tailwind by one turn. So my Tailwind ends here, but they still have one turn of Tailwind. I do see a lose condition for me here, and that's if they get like a Rock Slide Flinch or something like that. So what I'm going to be going for is just the Protect, stall out that last turn of Tailwind. If they went for like, I don't know, Swords Dance or something, that still wouldn't really matter because I do have that Focus Sash, and as long as I don't hit them and make contact, which Flower Trick does not, I will be perfectly fine against this Garchomp in the late game. Yeah, we stall out their Tailwind, we should outspeed Garchomp now. And Flower Trick is going to do a nice chunk. Just does about, I think a little more than half, or maybe about half. Even though it brings us low, we were always safe to that attack, and we're also in overgrow range now, so Flower Trick is just going to KO Garchomp. So GG's to our opponent. Very good game, pretty close at the end there. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Scarlet and Violet is my first VGC experience, so getting to learn more about a game that I've loved since I was a kid is super fun. Even though I make mistakes like not bottle capping my Talonflame, I do hope to get better at this. We do reach a new high of number 3,741, so that's pretty exciting. I'll most likely try to climb a little bit more before the season ends. I'm also excited for the new season, so stay tuned if you want to see me use Scarlet and the Paradox Mons. And until then, bye bye!